是不是当时从头上拉到那个杨大我作为上有个我认为是那个他不是第一些的，他被学3年呗，工作上是水什么东西谁当什么？
Let me remind every one of ourselves to take a moment and cultivate bodhicitta motivation, seeking complete enlightenment or Buddhahood for the benefit of all other sentient beings. With that kind of at least contrived bodhicitta, altruistic motivation, we should all participate in this discourse.
那这许多这嘛是现在没到我干嘛的系列干嘛是我听嘛给写一下。
Yes. Where we left off in this commentary on the wisdom chapter of Bodhisattva Mahasattva Shantideva's Bodhisattva Char Avatar, a guide to Bodhisattva Way of Life. Those of you who have this English translation, we are on page 200, and there is subsection 2, which reads, way of meditating on calm abiding or shamatha and special insight or vipassana. Of course, we haven't talked about calm abiding yet. That's where we left off, and we'll pick it up there.
一般的人没这么说的，全部念下过嘛那么希腊你个啥也那样，那不对嘞，俺写不到了，没这么过嘛，所以说系列的，全部念下过嘛，做劳动等了，这里讲提到些都，全部念下细节是怎么，那么凶的也了，前一半前一半呢？前一半听过，所以从那兄弟眼界呢也都是，希腊年呢，希腊年呢，前一半的，前一半那么兄呢也讲也了，从那就是从那就是呢，就是东西的那边，希腊宋这他那样，听见人家讲从那。从那新一把的那个希腊宋这也工兄的，东一的那个工兄，新那个月讲，东一的那个劳动别的，现在的他把当，听见交通的破坏作为现实，听见所能别就一东一到位，三代因为一的东一的那把养因。希腊宋这一年是因为我也这当节东一来美国是希腊宋这个年少的没少的这这些呢，东一来美国希腊年了200下现在俺呢东一来美国是东一来日本街头的。常被欣赏吧呢，东西的没有劳动头发赢了，这也是劳动了没被一切，东西的没被希腊送这几年是最着过的事儿，希腊年轻我做工作单儿，我送了欣赏节，什么过呢？让人没办法。在这边那个是现在就我当，现在就俺那没过了，这个特别，街头节是常会，欣赏节是不说说到位些，希腊给我到位些那劳动我第一次去过他的印象。 인지 시간이 레레랑 시다 신이가라 미고 예비시 tinha chebra meio hoje show menos unjo adina ja shine ne senja jibo ta do ne anda wa so do ba sheda do je jene ja yanda ne ba la te ne senga me sen jo sheda shene na ban je shine da la do ni she so shine da dame do be la do ni ga gobe jusene Dirigida karsa, Shidani karsa, Shila Sungri Siadi karsa, de Chembanya Shakundi Zana, Ede Mizuo Gomya Yaris, Lakdon Gundi karsa, Mizuo Gundan Chembanya Kubayar Dishina, de karsa, Judu di Kapsula, Labdu Kapsula, Chembanya Shakuma Delaya, and Mizuo Gumadan, karsa di Mizuo Gumala, so de 가서 개반 되어 가서 주 시내당 개반이라고 주劳动 자야시 어제 거기 부터 지당 개반이라고劳动要 믿고 그러면劳动要 이걸 이 예배 시험을데 신의 쇼코랑 해주로 또 해야시 어디 인사리
Geshe read 3 paragraphs starting from page 200 and that goes over to page 201. So as Geshe started to explain, generally speaking, we could talk about, for example, special insight or vipassana, plaknung in Tibetan, in regards to repulsiveness, midukba in Tibetan, or ugliness, okay? And also in regards to cultivating mindfulness or tempanyesha, setting the mindfulness. In other words, both these, how to say, objects, both these focus could have aspects of shamatha and vipassana or calm abiding and special insight. That said, in the what we call Compendium of Bodhisattva Training, Shiksha Samukta, here translated as Anthology of Training, right? The way it is explained is that calm abiding or shamatha is more kind of explained with regards to focusing on repulsiveness, and special insight or vipassana is emphasized or explained with regard to mindfulness. Okay? But that's how the Bodhisattva trainings have kind of presented it. But in general, both these topics could, be related to shamatha and vipassana.
어디서 제일 어디 상상도 시 가서 다 제일 동일 미국 시가 송지지 가서 더 유나야 라마쇼리 솔로 내가 여기 신의 기재 링에 되서 그냥 유라니 시가 송지지 이제 그 가서劳动的 대비용을 가서 손을 가서 야말이스 시가 송지劳动도 왔다 조론부와 뒤님 거리스 어쩌다 라마쇼나 시가 송지 도 왔다 여러 Tanda tōngi lākdōng tē tīpūtēn rīyāng tēnē rīs, o tēsī kēsī.
Ki di sumbe karsa tekchen ringyang la rwage, shila sumde ki tingin zin di tsoklam mayimbe je jolam thobdu gwer so rwage.
Rwage tōngi lirbe shila sumde.
Tōngi lirbe shila sumde ale.
Chida shila sumde marda. Tōngi lirbe shila sumde tōwa, tēne jolam thobdu rīs.
Shanda ring mange bayi na?
Tēme na chida lama shila sumde yorwa.
Ale, just double checking so that because Geshe is speaking to the table, so I have to get his attention to me. So in general, one could say that a unity or a union of shamatha and vipassana, calm abiding and special insight, could be present in the mind of someone who has not yet entered the path. Yeah? But what's mentioned here that is in the case of someone whose spiritual inclination or lineage is that of Mahayana, right? Your lineage is determined as Mahayana lineage. We call Tikchen Ringe in Tibetan. It's a huge instrumental work. So in such a case, so that practitioner, when he or she attains the union of calm abiding and special insight with regard to emptiness, right? That person, actually is already on the path of preparation, not on the path of accumulation. In the case of someone whose spiritual inclination lineage is Mahayana, determined as Rignyeva, right? You're sure you're Mahayana lineage, right? So such individuals or practitioners, when they cultivate calm abiding and vipassana with regard to emptiness, tongpanyi, shunyata, then once you achieve that union or unity, that person will be on the path of preparation, or jolam, here called the path of joining or path of connecting. Actually, I like the path connecting link, actually,
我这个可是推荐人要去的，咱得是东西也得写了是，素质早晚都做，交通主要跑推荐没事，知道来那么凶那写了素质要是我这些，这些，他东西那写，两百下去嘛，东西的没，这都什么欣赏，那欣赏结巴那东西的没，拉动代表一笔，你了，这次。东西的没被新，其他素质一年这就这个些事。他从我告诉他，就让你可是欣赏生活的，现在日本这边是的，你东西没被欣赏透我嘛是，我这是个多，同时，都日本这边学的的历史历史中，希腊素质的历史历史中啊，谁多好像。semjo ino kaze gomna le be kale khaya mewa da lyu la kale khaya mewa tide be so so choro shi ma do ji gunye me de wo jobo be nyobo do de me lyu da sem ya de ze gomna de ke lyu run cheba je shi le so na o tide zan da ni di tesi wa da lyu sun shen shan top si di lyu sin ja sha di 吕雷中的钱，吕里干里还没呗，给我那样我那样就没有，什么干里还没有，我今天下手呢，哎，那吕生心干心上，top 我的是我的说的。
So we are on page 200 still, and Geshe is explaining that when we focus on emptiness or shunyata, tongpanyi, and cultivating special insight or lakthong, vipassana, so when do we actually achieve it? Because it involves analytical meditation, analyzing and kind of investigating the truth of the matter, right? The ultimate nature of things is when we reach a state where we achieve what is called shinchang, which literally means thorough training, translated as pliancies, isn't it? So when we achieve or experience the pliancies of body and mind, right, with regard to this emptiness, it is at that point of time, so we achieve the genuine vipassana or special insight into emptiness. So I guess I'll explain what does this pliancies mean, the shinjang in Tibetan, thoroughly trained, literally translated, right? So it really concerns our body and mind. So when we achieve that kind of experience, a state of mind, that our body and mind become very pliant or serviceable, if you're going to do your practice, right, you're not going to feel tired or exhausted or sleepyhead, that your mind don't get exhausted or like I run out of the fuel now. No, the mind, it's very pliant and very workable, serviceable, isn't it? I mean, you can decide, okay, I don't want to sit in meditation now. That's your choice. But if you want to sit in meditation for however long, your body and mind are not going to complain or, I didn't say complain, you know what I'm saying, right? The body and mind just feel fine, however long you sit in that meditative state. So this is where you achieve what we call physical pliancy, Lu Xinjiang, and mental pliancy, or Sem Xinjiang, isn't it? So these pliancies are not exclusive just to the special insight of Vipassana meditation. Actually, this also relates to the shamatha or calm abiding as well, So until then, we might have kind of deeply penetrated into emptiness, right? What it is, right? That's what called chittava, right? Chittava means as it is. Here translates what is, right? But we haven't really achieved the special insight, actually, isn't it? Because what is missing is the pliancy here. So whenever the pliancy kicks in, if I can speak as American like that, it'll kick in somewhere, right? This is the point where we achieve the vipassana or the special insight into emptiness. And this is where, of course, at this point, so we achieve the unity or the union of calm abiding shamatha, shine, and vipassana or laptong, special insight.
我这可是这些人员做其他的那边呢，其他组织的要么是做那么一个，其他组织的其他那边其他组织可以他们也做那么保护这些，其他组织要是劳动到时候其他组织不下手可以，我这些，这些人员做那些一般的那边是其他组织的工作的。现在从这些工作上，劳动业没有工作给现在也讲是，我觉得提前说的搞的现在从这要的，动业没有工作要的是一样的，因为动业没有劳动要嘛的是，动业没有劳动的，可就他说呢，你走路车的跑着是吧？我说的要嘛的是这些，工作啊，动业没有工作。有讲东西没被拉到没的，这里的他话的这个说没说过没事噻，这个从来没觉得东西到别三点钟我就东西了没有办法赢，其他手里那是赢没有，我家得到一东西了没别，你其他手里那是就没说的，这些的东西了没被其他现在了。要把下线别硬的，东西的没把这把心这边去找去装备，新疆接完那东西的没劳动他把赢回来，赢了，第一在那东西的没其他手里，人这人说过没事实，我这里他知道的那东西那从我告诉了，其他手里他差一点，现在的东西都了，其他手里这点的现在。其他组织的东西都被其他组织买的是，我的东西都被其他组织到时候呢，一定也把也交了跑出去是，知道了其他组织长这样的是，这些东西没被其他两百下一边啊，东西也被这把就是装备，欣赏这把那东西没被劳动，他把赢了。这在东西其他组织一年就做过的事实。我对了，这样的希腊组织他们劳动特别结果是吧？因为他的提前说了嘛的，人家就是提前说了嘛的呀，希腊组织他们东西都我那可能现在这东西都了希腊组织东西都老马的是，我他昨天这些时候他希腊组织的到时候东西人家把下一把个的人家这把石头去长呗。那欣赏欣赏呢，那东西里面那其他组织都好是吧？我觉得他
So Geshe explained that in general, say one could attain the unity of calm abiding and special insight on the path of accumulation or Solam. Okay. But attaining a unity of calm abiding does not necessarily mean that you have attained that union with regard to emptiness, isn't it? As we said earlier, those with Mahayana determined lineage or spiritual inclination, on the path of accumulation, they already have calm abiding, or they could have calm abiding and special insight, but they don't achieve that union of calm abiding and special insight with regard to emptiness on the path of accumulation, because that only happens on the path of preparation, the next path, or the path of joining, or path of connecting, or whatever we call it Jolam. Okay, so Jolam has 4 stages, right? And is actually on the heat level too, the warm level, the hot level. I don't know, maybe hot is not right. The warm heat level, or the path of preparation that those with Mahayana lineage attain the union of calm abiding and special insight with regard to emptiness. Okay, so how that happens is that while one has one can single-pointedly focus on the emptiness and also analyzing it, right, with the power of that single-pointedness. Also, along with it, you can also analyze the deeply penetrated emptiness. So as this analysis investigation induces the pliancies, that experience, right? So it is at that moment that one achieves what we call the actual or the genuine special insight with regard to emptiness, And so this is where, on the path of preparation, the heat level, that Mahayana lineage, one with the determined Mahayana lineage achieved the union of calm abiding, special insight with regard to emptiness on the path of preparation.
Oh, dear, she like you go read that was on. She joined him go around me, brother. That's the way thing is. She didn't go down. She didn't go on me, brother. Regret about she did. She did tell me she joined him. So that we share. Pardon was. Till that he needed the courage he needs to courage has those things. This is he needed the courage. 신샤스 우슬레 다다 누슬레롱 그 레스롱 하셔야 돼요. 디스베 고니 에네 라그 미바다 거자데 제지베 땡인데 에니 신이 고리스 다 신이 고 리베지와 시들기 참베 신샤 참베 에니 소소도 쉐라데 라동 거지 신을 땡인지셰 라동을 쉐라베 켜고다 고저시나
So at the end, at the bottom of page 200 and top of page 201, we find that based on the sutra explaining the intent, Gongrejido in Tibetan, so they defined or presented what is the nature of shamatha or calm abiding. What is it actually, right? Here they translate it as the essence, right? The movo, the nature, entityness, whatever. So what is special insight of Vipassana? So as Geshe explained, that when we talk about calm abiding or shine, mental, tranquility, this is really part of samadhi, right? Concentration or meditative stabilization, isn't it? So when we are able to focus single-pointedly on an object or a focus, and so that single-pointedness induces the pliancies of the body and mind, right? You have physical pliancy and mental pliancy, but at the same time, you can single-pointedly stay on the focus. This is where we have the real calm abiding. That is the nature of calm abiding or shine, isn't it? Calm abiding is not just simply a single-pointed concentration on a focus. It involves the pliancy experiences as well. Right? That's what it is. The same thing for the Vipassana or special insight, Lakdon. that while we're analyzing and investigating the nature of emptiness, isn't it? And so whenever that analysis or investigation induces that we could before be very deeply penetrating it, but it has not yet been able to induce the appliances, so we don't have the actual special insight or vipassana. But when that analysis investigation induces the appliances of the body and mind, it is at that point, so we have the real or the actual or the genuine special insight into emptiness. So in other words, calm abiding, shamatha, and vipassana, special insight, are characterized by the physical and mental appliances. Until you have those appliances, yes, you have some kind of samadhi there, right? It's very single-pointed. Geshe, I didn't say good for you. I'll put it in the footnote, right? And yes, you are doing very good meditation, emptiness. You are very good, very sharp, whatever. But you don't have the appliances, so good for you. But you're still not there. But as we have appliances, then we really have the real deal, so to speak, right? We have the real deal, calm abiding, and special insight. That's how the sutra explaining the intent, Kongreji Do explains it. So shamatha or calm abiding is a part of samadhi, concentration practice, and vipassana or special insight is a part of the wisdom practice. Okay, yeah.
我这个觉得他的希腊人的可能公家党产学过什么东西，要语产学过嘛这个，本来工作没被希腊开始的，他动要的其他没被希腊要是语个学过嘛这，所以可能共党个里边这吧没办法，什么地方到底熊啊都现在熊啊这希腊些。但现在我里边这把些到底的就是倾向差不多，现在他东西共党现在学个什么东西，没办法现在学嘛的时候的。
So as Krishna explained, we cannot differentiate between shamatha and vipassana, calm abiding, special insight from the focus point of view, objective point of view. The focus can be anything. It can be what we call what is. We call it chitava, as it is, right? That's the ontological status. Or it could be whatever there is. That's how it's translated here. We call chinyeba, a variety, actually. Diversity. That's what the Tibetan word says, chinyeba. So the focus can be a very diverse kind of focus, or it can be very just a singular one as emptiness. So that does not differentiate between the calm abiding and vipassana. What differentiates between them is how you meditate on it, right? More like from the meditational perspective or point of view. So as Geshe explained, that you can focus on emptiness or what it is and have a calm abiding. You can focus on variety and have special insight. Okay, so the focus doesn't matter here. But what matters is how you approach and meditate on it. And so single-pointedly focusing on whatever it is, whenever you experience appliances, this is where you have calm abiding with regard to that focus, isn't it? And while in the state of calm abiding, if you analyze, and that induces these appliances, this is where you have the vipassana or special insight into a focus. Yeah, and of course, we talked about this more in regard to the emptiness, right? Union of calm abiding and special insight with regard to emptiness.
那工作真的讲，现在怎么讲就我，劳动呢，让他们说到我写的，多的人来讲，让他那把拉点呢，什么说是等啊。Sure, number J. Hine than Radon, yes, or Hine Dame Tobe, Ladonica, Gove Jusine, Shine Yegan, Ladomena, Tawe Megdan, Cheres, you told me, Sida. Dame Tobe, Da Yegan, Ding it in. Tempo mena, nam do longues, trugues, 一路也同下同没许多，就在公司排班里，现在也到今年，到今年现在也到今年，慢慢弄没往下吧，现在了，哪怕到别弄什么要民主了，差不多可能到完年呗，出在他的帮别现在给没些的。多人民多的这个的现在到底要没有吧，就是劳动的概念，你劳动的概念，你日本知道就是写什么大不写什么，我听他其他组织过决定的关系，送着什么通过的才那个，慢慢什么知道，弄没有念过日子，慢慢什么没能，俺通过嘛了，手通过嘛是吧？
No.
慢慢十八元呢，然后弄元呢，慢慢的不要，你把钱到多么多现在，这个通过嘛，现在慢慢生活，这个弄个慢慢生活的那东西，弄没有的现在中国是吧？现在其他人国就在这点可惜，这个现阶段上的这些工作是吧？没，当然这个老太阳不这些，你新干这个新疆的老百姓不？别亚斯巴的学嘛，学啥这个就把学东西，我这是个人说，我对人心里这个什么东西，哪怕在我们那大学我的现在兴趣就刚刚想好了吧，我在那些我的其他人的呀，我对的几把人是，他甭把学的有我的老东西，个就开始当然弄我的老东西。甭把电波的现在现在我就甭把电波这个带来，你兴趣这个都，但是那么远呢，甭把电波嘛，你就是我嘛是吧？甭把远了，当然要那边呢，你就是我嘛是吧？我就是我的。
So we are on page 201. Gisela read, the citation from the ornament of the Mahayana Sutra, and also citations from the middle part of Kamal Shil's Bhavana Krama, or stages of meditation there, right? And so as Geshe explained, now actually in the ornament for Mahayana Sutra, really it tells us the distinction between calm abiding, shamatha, and vipassana. Let me just read it. The Mahayana Sutra says, since based on genuine abiding, the mind is placed within mind, and since phenomena are completely discerned, these are calm abiding and special insight. So that's kind of distinction being made here. And so the kind of a very important question is, why do we need both shamatha and vipassana, calm abiding and special insight with regard to selflessness, emptiness, right? It's like, can I have just one? Why do I have to have both, kind of thing, right? So response to that question is, yes, we need both because one will not do it. And Geshe has given two examples here, which are often cited in the Buddhist texts. Let's say if we would like to see a form in a darkness, what we need is we really need a very clear torch or a lamp, light, isn't it? Bright light. And then we also need that nothing is going to obstruct or obscure, or in the case of butter lamp, there's not going to be wind that's going to kill it, right? And so so we need those two things. There is no wind disturbance, peace, and then there's a very bright light. You just focus on. Now you said, there is what I was looking for, Yeah. So the bright light, it signifies the special insight part, right? Because it allows you to see it. Whereas not being disrupted by the wind, gust of wind or whatever, that is more like the calm abiding part, right? That's that peace, nothing is perturbing you here. Another example used is that of a woodcutter. So a woodcutter's job is to cut the wood. Yeah. So that person, in an old-fashioned way, needs a very sharp axe, tare, we call it, and also must have a very strong arm and very firm one. That when you cut a wood, right, you're going to hit it at the same place, isn't it? Right? You're not going to hit there and here and there and here like that. Nothing's going to get cut. You just have to hit at the same spot all the time, so you will fell the tree down. Yeah? And so having a sharp axe is like having a special insight, penetrative insight. And having that firm and strong built arm, right, that can wield the axe is like the calm abiding part, isn't it? So just as a woodcutter needs a very firm, strong arm and a sharp axe, or now these days probably we have a machine, you don't need that, but that's a different story. So like that, we need both calm abiding, shamatha, shine, and we need vipassana, special insight, lakdong, with regard to emptiness. Oops.
다 같이 시내劳动者 심지 시내 마도나 근데 시내 톱네 메디 시내 때보 용게 지금 니마 지금 개와시보다 디레 시내 마도 지금 로지를 개와시보 좀 시기는 당소 표시 시내 통계디 니마 지금 개와시보 또 쉬어서 디레 쉬어다 가지 제가 시라 타고 주진 좀 들으시다.
So there are many reasons why it is to our advantage and why it's needed to have both calm abiding special insight. Let's say if someone has achieved genuine calm abiding or shine, if that person practiced only one day, right, as compared to someone who practiced the whole year, actually that one day practice is likely to be much more effective and powerful, right, of a virtue, one who has a calm abiding, than the one who practice for the whole year with the distraction, isn't it? So this is the benefit of having, calm abiding.
다와기 베파스 거기 레드 자와세 라도 터서나 다와기 바다 니모기 바서 바 쪽토고 말이죠. 때모 샤가리스. 어디 시내 유나야 거기 내고 도마도네 가서 샘드 쇼드 레도 말 어디레스. 조로스 라도 네 다와기 베 춥다방바 다와기 베 춥다 다 방배 현다기 미시데 더 좀인 더 레시거디 시내도 요아메가 줄 타고서데 레데 가와주 시에서 왔다고 어디 미 세미과 때모여나 에니카 세브시다 요마리 뭐 니와치올레그리스 타고게 타와니베劳动单位你们说我是没有说劳动说说，这劳动说这个不弄着可是现在我说，现在希腊松这国家的这意思，我是被你们上面说可是劳动些，这说劳动的呀，那电报的的话，他内容是，这内容中东亚的看见中国是，你现在用中国话这些的，希腊松这国就这样的些为什
么？More towards the end of page 201, there's a citation from Chandra Pradipa Sutra, or the Moon Lamp Sutra, the ultimate Dho, and it reads, the power of calm abiding brings non-agitation or non-disturbances, yoameba, and through special insight, one becomes like a mountain, unquote. So as Geshe explained, that with calm abiding, we are able to stay unperturbed on anything we focus our mind on, or whatever we are engaging in, right? We are going to be like 100% there, right? Nothing is really distracting us. And that really brings a lot of power and energy and efficiency into our practice and what we do. With special insight, we are able to see things clearly, right? See it through kind of thing. And the way it's explained in this context is if we have a special insight, the actual one, which is what we mean, into emptiness, then we will not be perturbed by any other wrong views of philosophical systems. We will be as firm as a mountain, isn't it? We will be very firm like a mountain because no other philosophical wrong views can agitate us and can disrupt us. No.
What is it? Love to le nyambar hai. Love to le nyam ya yang da shi di shi wan ju shi tibe song. Shu yang da ba du ba do le. Yi nyambar ba ne yang da ba shi da wa shi wan ju ro. Shi do chang ne song so. Te ma zi sem me shi ne ye na me da ba da shao ju sem da. Da me wa so la ji kum shi me ge da tam shi tab shi la. Sem ye we ne ge jo tam shi tab shong de. Shong de ye tu ge jo tam de ka do kun shi so da. Sem number ye me ni mo shi cha ne ni ye so. But sem ma ne de ka sa this is what ka sa. Do do fu me shi yin ja ja. Sem number ye na and fu ba til ya shun da rin ye. Tina chukazulu ya khaya zhe yamara. She sem de ya bu de bu me na. Gom zhou kazi jani ya sa ya zhe niba le ya yamaris. Ani ko se da hine de na ne ko sa kazi gom ganga be da ho zhe ne she zhe lu sa ye zang ganga tin de lu shi da do sa ya ji ni niba she bu she ge wa. Ti ma de sa wa da ganga be to zhe bu de zu lu lu zang xie me na. Ani ko to shu ye ro. Ti sa ani hine la de hila sung ri go se di ni se.
So then we have more citations from the Anthology of Training or Compendium of Bodhisattva Training, Shiksha Samukcha, Labdhu in Tibetan, and then Compendium of Dharma or Choyangdo Vardube Do in Tibetan. So all of these citations are basically substantiating the point that we do need both shamatha and vipassana. One will not do it, right? So then they tell us some more reasons why that's needed. And as Geshe said before, that with shamatha come abiding any practice we do, virtues, whether you're meditating on impermanence, you're cultivating bodhicitta, you are analyzing selflessness, anything, all of this becomes like extremely effective and powerful practice, because we need to do the practice with single pointed mindfulness, isn't it? If our mind is distracted, yes, we are practicing, our practice will not have that, how should I say, that much of a power, to it. And it's just like we do a lot of practices, and then it's just like we're trying to collect a lot of virtues, but we try to put them in a very leaky pot. Everything is leaking out slowly, but we don't realize that, I've been doing a lot of practice, and at the end, everything is flowing out there. But if we have a calm abiding, is really a neat pot. Now you put anything in it, it stays put there, right? So this is how our powers, our practices, they can accumulate and become very powerful and effective.
What did it get? Same thing, so Tumbo Sadi gave us the more hine drones. Then the dead then Lazon drove over Gunjadam. Golden Sole, Songhin. Shinjuk Tamani, Lazon Simani. You couldn't share Tamji God. Same number my shake the Hine, how to show it. There's no. The Shimane Kondu Shebe, Konus, Teta, De Corsa. The Hilani Kormu, the Sanga Lamin goes to them again. Passing down Hawaii, nearly Hine of the Ladon Topper. Hila yi bangsa uris. Tanga me lo shina ya, kon hila nyamdo toga shiga yori. Timata, he positive lo da, ene ngakzo le ina ya, ene jude omas ganga chigwari hine nga to, lakdong to ma to hila ni tu tuyo to ba yamaris. O da.
So we're on top of page 202 there. And I think the point that is being made here is in what sequence do we pursue calm abiding and spiritual insight? In general, whether we follow the Sutrayana perspective or we follow the lower Tantra perspective, right? That we must first try to pursue calm abiding, shamatha, and then we should go with vipassana, special insight. So there's a proper sequence to it, isn't it? Now, the exception to this rule is only in the highest yoga, Buddhist Tantra or the Mahanuttara Yoga Tantra, where there's mention of how we could achieve both together simultaneously, calm abiding and special insight. But that is Mahanuttara Yoga Tantra specialization, right? But in general, whether we follow the Pranjana Paramita perspective, perfection of wisdom perspective, or we follow the Tantra perspective, meaning the three lower Tantras, one has to first achieve calm abiding, pursue that, right? First thing first, and then go with special insight or the vipassana.
Oh, that Chile, there's the Musin, loser so deme de Gomji, so him, that the Shesha Gezi, Rinpoche, Rinpoche, Java Lajang, Shei Damila, Juba, Chetam Juan Meva, Tembale, Jambe Lu Namkata, Gaton Tene, Lu Jesus, the Chema Yabao. Dikendi Cher Judge saw me some means of the Shina. You had to be good, she been the shirt and she thought she died. Tibanya Shabo, she so about the rules. Tibanya she double, she got on the song sauce. Or these are Casa. Then the sheriff the goose in Najishena, Shena, Luzos said she used the sword to damage them by Jahas. And the Hanashi, Church disease, the lawless so doing matter what is disease. Juicy Tina Jaha, you know, the cause the Chemanja go limit the damage. Don't you go, Yama, Chemanja, could not go here, you jump. Che dame Giovanni che damje Giovanni was somba so was it. Jambi Lu Nanka the Yamse. That cause you did. Tana de Chamaya go to Tana Sherab Luke, Jojo Sherab Luke, more than shit. In the theater, the Jesse Lager Soliman, the Jesse, the songs, the Gangana, Chebanya Gomada. 동일 자하게 이제 뭐 동일 자가야 말아 제반이자 매주고 그 제반이 나서야 말 어디고 시즈지면서 인지면시야 제반이야 그 동일 공부하여 말이스 어디서 왔다.
So we're on page 202. What Geshe just explained is that in some texts like the 37 wings or the factors of enlightenment, and also they talk about mindfulness with regard to selflessness or emptiness, And here also in many contexts, we're talking about mindfulness with regard to selfless emptiness. But in general speaking, to practice or cultivate mindfulness, we don't have to focus on emptiness, selflessness. Yes, you could. But you could also have mindfulness with regard to some other focus as well.
一般的这没做过是那全部年下说，年下过嘛那了，其他你个下雨那样，那就是俺些吧的，没做过嘛说这做新年的，全部年下过没做劳动，对了，做了讲在这儿写的，全部年下去，这怎么这可是。这没读过的，全部印象过嘛？现在就是可是，希腊你个下有人是，
你
多么的可是，
跟学过接续就没跟，
那
跟大概就松着什么，跟把接续就没得了呗。
那
跟学过这也接不了拍呗，可能呗，大概这松啥什么的，
要不那
跟学过也老嘛，吧，大老家嘛，吧，跟大概这松啥是跟，
那是，
等等，
那西藏什么是多少人到达？
啊，
可是这些人，
等等，
学校到我这边多少件，一年吧现在就是些松说的呢，这嘛是没有心里有呢，没啥他对我的认识。这趟希腊属于国家的，这趟现在到说呢，希腊属于到说呢，那小学生的，那没到过，可是我们可是讲的，你把他们中国人是，我这是我说的，我等一下，送说学养到我里边多的，一年半下班的，养到我写完就了，写多长的送说，这嘛是因为现在有的没到吧的小学生的，养到吧。他们我说这个是给我他们是多钱了，是因为你有时候他们是多兄弟一定，有时候他你搞到跟学校的，现在那么因为你们学校上的你也说这样的，他那的东西工作学过，东西学过嘛的是，现在的现在劳动人呢，也在开始的到学城市生活难着，人生困难着，人生困难刚刚，第二开始的到校园，个生没关学什么中国的话，这个到校园里，我这个的现在现在我们这边国外嘛是呗，国外就是是，培养出的这个是的。
That was reminding Geshe, he flipped 2 pages backwards. So I was hearing him again, the same thing I heard before. So anyway, now we went back, and I think he went back a little bit, bottom of page 201, right? We're on 202. So basically, Geshe kind of repeated that the need for calm abiding first is not just only for the special insight into selflessness and emptiness, but it can also amplify any practice virtues we do, right? If you're cultivating bodhicitta, with calm abiding, there is so much power, right, to your bodhicitta practice, or you're meditating on impermanence, it will bring so much efficiency and power into that. Because we really need just to be completely involved into whatever practice we are doing without any disturbances. And this is where the importance of calm abiding or shamatha comes into the picture. Of course, then it is the same thing needed for developing special insight into emptiness, right? Being in the state of calm abiding with all those pliances, when we investigate the emptiness of selflessness, and when that induces the pliances of the body and the mind, now we have the union or the unity of calm abiding and special insight with regard to emptiness. And that's needed, really to uproot our delusions, isn't it? That which cuts through the delusions is not the calm abiding, it's the special insight. But to have that special insight, first we need the calm abiding. That is the, step 1 and 2 there.
而且第一个人样是当我三对结尾在我心里这呢，听了，劳动者个吧，工作的工人说的送行，心中他们你老送什么人个人写吧，他们去搞了，是 number 마셔와데 희내 호도 셔바비 레제노 샤 치마니네 호디 셰바 코뉴소 대다게 님보 두시 게데 게네 우달레스 다데 가자 희내다 더모 희내 그 님보 두시 그 두지 저바 님보 두시 이거만 어디 시가자 어디죠 다들 대다게 님보 두시 게 대바 게네 너데 긴송어와 우달레 내다 텔라 내바탐 저던 주변이도 미과 제바 마슈탐 생다 고도 떡바탐 대봉어만 드시당 시드니에도 저보 계속 대다 안녕뭐 주주다 릴로니뭐 종주 종주 준 준제 시대스 대바시 듬바시 종주 신상 시대다 주제시 대내 제예다 제에서 제자시 지구에서도 신선의 데려다 미바 메세와 그바스는 미바 샤사 메샤바 메데오 초자들 그바스 그러와 다 대시와시도 야보 미바 야보 두에나 야 베스 사무실에 동네 야 쪽교 지직시 야 심플 미바 쇼니 가다가 참되는 하모시 닝데야 되는 니부 드마시마스 거기서 미바 야보 두드자라 다가 샤마다 야 제바 주시라시죠 말이스 야 미바 잉선을 랑상 배 조조모도 지려 롱요서가 마시 알레 배 고와도 가지 계신데 간섬을 죽고야로 드시죠 말 랑사 쳔백 배 미바 쇼라다가 야조 주시 미베가 야 조도 마시고리스 어때 마지나 아니 비게 가서 소르시야도 하고 싶으시그리스 어디서 왔다
And so we are on page 202 and 203 there. And so as we said, generally speaking, the sequence in which we cultivate calm abiding and vipassana is first calm abiding and then vipassana, according to Pranjana Paramita perspective, according the Lord Tantra perspective. The exception to the rule is the Maha Yoga Tantra, High Shoka Tantra, where it says that one could cultivate both simultaneously, right? And so that's their specialization. So that sequence, first calm abiding and next vipassana side, is also we see in other contexts like in the six perfections, isn't it? We have the concentration before wisdom, isn't it? When we think in terms of the three higher trainings, we have the training in ethics and then training in concentration and training in wisdom. So that, right, the sequence is very much set already in all those contexts. And so the next was a sub-point which Geshe has gone through, how to cultivate calm abiding. And this is where generally we talk about the need to recognize five, what we call faults, nyeba, or the five obstacles, let's put it, that prevent us from cultivating calm abiding. And then the 8 antidotes, right, that will help us to be able to counteract the 5, the obstacles. And so those are mentioned in different texts like Namche, distinguishing the middle and the extremes, literal translation of that, or also in the find something in the Mahayana Sutra as well. So the 5 obstacles or the faults, nyeba, are that we have lelo, laziness, right? Lazy bum, that's what it is. We'll say other kinds too, laziness. And forgetting the practical instruction, literally Tibetan is called mikwa cheba, means you lose your focus, right? But here it's more like we forget the instruction. That's how it's explained usually. And then we have, generally counted at the jingwe, laxity, excitement as 1, sometimes in my footnote as 2, different thing about that. So jingwa, laxity means that our mind has no clarity, so we cannot have a clear image of our focus. That's the laxity part. And the Agitation or excitement, usually we translate it, is where the mind is really not sitting on the focus. It's just getting very, irritated kind of thing. That's what it is. And then application, right? When there is no need to apply any antidotes, we overdo it, right? We're overacting practitioners. So then we spoil the game. There is no laxity and agitation in the meditation. It's really going fine. And then curious George, we overdo it, and then it disturbs, right? Or that when they do show up, we don't notice them, or we don't apply any antidotes. We just kind of, I'm doing good meditation, right? That's the non-application is the problem. Over application is the problem. And so those are the 5 faults, or the 5 obstacles. And then there are 8 antidotes we call the antidotal powers here. So those are mentioned at the bottom of page 2 or 3 in a citation from distinguishing the middle and the extremes. So as Geshe explained very briefly, that the antidote to lelo, laziness, is jundu, diligence or enthusiastic effort. That's how we translate it, jundu, right? And there is some kind of cause and effect relation among few things that deal with laziness. And these few things are deba is faith, and meba is aspiration, and the jundu is the diligence itself, and pliancies, isn't it? Xinjiang. So these are the antidotes to laziness, and they have a cause and effect relationship there. And then the next one is, as we said, where you find that laxity and excitement or agitation are causing disturbances, then we have to bring into our mind the antidotes, right? Mindfulness, introspection, right? To be able to deal with them. If we don't do that, that is an obstacle. But then if our meditation is doing very well with no laxity and excitement or agitation, then we don't need to do anything. But if we overact, overpractice, then over-application is a problem here, right? It's an obstacle here. So that's how far we got right now.
대바사 땡은지 연대 통스 거기 남 가르 고모르잖아 걸 연대에서 어디다 됐으겠다 그래서 대바 주시고 다 걸 연대 통하다 다 연대도 이거 통은 이야들 nem바스 그러 어디 심바다 내디 거서 대바네 땡은지 나 对，就是有年是这么的，06年我说，新疆的种植一年说，那边的种植说是准备就能贴吧我，所以这么的新疆的，那些我去种植说是，我那个那帮那些种植意思，全部呢，我这边。这个行为没把的没见证和尚，这个行为没作为，连见这前把送的东西，我的前把下的没把讲嘛，前把下的看这些现在这些我的，可是，嗯，可就把些前把说，俺这边前把下，俺这边俺的还光我这边。没把没见证，他那现在没找，他刚让对他们给，我的这个起来性格进来，全把这个意思。他现在的可是呢，经过熊猫中实行希望是，经过熊猫用的古巴用的单根的了，可是现是个的，现可是现的经过熊猫是。学习吧，我什么呢？生育了要有关系呗，什么原因呢？人的辛苦时候呢，懂了什么把这些呗，什么说是 어디를 심바세야디 들 거리 지도 심바 바워디 다들 심바 거리서 심유의 인거도나 이제 람사 희야기 인소선 희토야들 어디 심바시고리스
가르라게
라
심바세드 가르승바
심바세야 되는데 니뭐 주제 제세야 심바세야 저러
라
어디 심바세야 거리서 심바 유의 인소나 람사 하고야 게 저러
알어
어디 심바시리스
디시시 마루에
라
디시시 마루에
하 중독의 시제로
알레 하공엔데 알레로
어디 가서 데세도 요시 이나시 가서 심네 디오쇼기 뭐뭐이래 랍줄레 이히노 가고네 생도와 샤오 그거 저는 메다와 이래 샤오 티테다 가지서 마 쇼무로도나 근데 저녁이가 다 들어가야 소지 저거 요대로부터 서고 공부했어. 근데 스미야 배 시다 초고거든. 야 동업에 녀 동업보다 미도보다 도거들 상동 거랬어. 그래서 배 방막은 야 터야 상동하다. 야 터저 마 빠야.我身体比给他看见不就说，故事的不就说，我这他我底下写过说，这。
So we are on page 204. Gisela read the first, from the top to first two paragraphs below that and a little bit of the next one. And so explained that, what is a faith or deba, right? Tibetan, the faith. How do we have faith? In other words, is when we see, usually we say the qualities of something, which could be the benefits, right? Why must I do that, right? If we see the benefit or advantages of cultivating shamatha, for instance, then we develop what we call the faith in it, deba, that's what it is. Seeing the benefit, the qualities of cultivating come abiding. And the aspiration is the meba, right? Then you see now you see the benefit of having come abiding, and then you aspire for it. That's a meba, right? Now I would like to have it, that aspiration. And then the diligence is the chundu, is that then, because of this faith and aspiration, that kicks in the joyous effort to be able to pursue the come abiding in this context. And so through effort that we're able to counter laziness, and finally, which really helps us to kind of overcome the laziness, is the pliancies of the body and mind, right? When our mind and body become very functional, very serviceable, right, very pliant, then we will not have laziness to do our practice or stay focused on anything like that. So as we said before, so these things have cause and effect relationship, right? Aspiration will kick in the diligence, and diligence will kick in the pliancies and so forth. That kind of a cause and effect relationship there. And as we said, that one of the major obstacles in meditation in general and cultivating calm abiding in particular are the jinggu. Jingba is the laxity, dullness, and the geba is the agitation or excitement, isn't it? And this is where we need to cultivate what we call tenshe. Tenpa translated as mindfulness, and sheba usually I translate as introspection, but here translate as meta-awareness. I like that too. Okay, so when they say meta-awareness, we're talking about sheshin, introspection, usually that I translate. So the mindfulness, Tenpa, it is characterized by a few things. Here it says the mindfulness can only kick in because of familiarity with a focus on an object. That familiarization of familiarity is very important, one. So when you have that familiarity kind of with an object, then you really don't easily forget it, right? So it's non-forgetfulness is part of that mindfulness. And then because you are not forgetting your focus, so your mind is less likely to be captivated by other things or distracted by other things. It's not going to chase any other things. It's going to, right? So those are characteristics of tempa or mindfulness. Meta-awareness or introspection, Sheshin is actually the spy. That's what it is, right? And that, that which spies whether there's any laxity or excitement disturbing my mind or they're just not there. So what helps us to be aware of that, right? That awareness, meta-awareness, right, is the antidote there. So when we have that meta-awareness, which is hard to translate in English, they translate here Semba as intention. Maybe it works here. Is that which connects or moves our mind to our focus, right? Because if you become aware that I have lost my focus, isn't it? Then we have to have the intention to bring the mind back, reset into the focus. It's not that meta-awareness that's going to reset it, because the spy tells you like, hello, I call you, you lost your focus. And then the intention has to bring back the mind to the focus, right? That's the Semba's job there, functionality. So in our meditation, right, we do face a lot of challenges, and one of them is Sem Shumba. When we feel disheartened, right, I feel kind of a low, right? I don't feel inspired. I'm like, right, that my mind is kind of sinking in. Then we really have to inspire us. We have to boost up that. So that's where usually we think about the qualities and benefits of Dharma and the Buddha and the practice and all of those things. So when you appreciate, right, their benefits, the quality, now the mind wakes up, kind of thing, from that kind of slumberness, like that, it wakes up. But then sometimes the mind is overly like excited, like a child in a candy shop. Geshe didn't say that. That's just my footnote there, right? That works. And so you have to kind of calm down, so this is where sometimes we have to focus on suffering nature, right? Don't get too excited. You're in samsara. There's all kinds of suffering. So suffering, be real. Or that we can think about the repulsiveness, right? Everything is not beautiful and attractive, right? There is the dark side of things, So that will bring the realistic perspective. So calm down, So these are the challenges we face, and this is how we deal with these issues in meditation. Of course, we will stop there today, and we welcome your questions. And let me mark the page, and we go first to our Dharma brothers and sisters in cyberspace. If not, we come back to ourselves. Anything in the... We don't have there, right? What they do?
Yeah, the student is just double checking regarding this analogy that you had referenced a little while ago regarding like it's the analogy of the sharp axe with a strong, and having a strong arm to hit that same spot or cutting the tree. So she's just asking, so when we have calm abiding and special insight, is it like having the machine and skill to use it to cut down the tree?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much.
Oh, that's what it is. Oh, just double checking, right?
Yeah, double checking. Yes.
자제선에 the condition that 거지 코란서 딱딱 고이면 자기 김 실라니가 고야기 좀제 빼지로 와게 아니 신제겐이야 다른 농부제다 풍바 톱다다 템부스 거를 라브로 와게 어디 라디 칼라 어디기 코란 과단 체베이나 가르서 그래 다 간도 취칭을 서가서가야 디 시내다 하던 니가 와게 거를 레고 여러 배사게 가서 취칭을 와게 매든 버버 과야지 시내다 하던 니가 그거 여러 배스 배는 신제간을 야따리 농부지다 라고 템부지 그거 여러 와게 니네 신간절에 니가로 내버도 거를 레고 여러 배사게 취칭을 Yes, generally speaking, for us Dharma practitioners to progress in our practice, right, any practice you do, for real deal kind of thing, we need both. Just like a woodcutter must have a sharp axe or implement and a very strong and firm arms. Like that, we need both this undistracted mind, calm abiding with pliancy, and the special insight with pliancies. Yes. Just confirm. Yes. Go ahead. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We have time. Yeah.
When I do the practices, I have a hard time with understanding the scaling. So without the concentrated mind, you cannot have wisdom and wisdom. But the thing is that without wisdom, you can't really have a concentrated mind, is what I've discovered. Mm-hmm. So in some ways they're inseparable. You have to work on everything, is what I've learned. But in the system of Mahayana, often that is considered jumping around, but I have not found that. Can you explain maybe if I'm...
What have you not found in the Mahayana?
That when you mix practices, or if you work on wisdom per se, without working on concentration or other practices per se out of order, mm-hmm. I have actually discovered that it actually helps me rather than...
or whichever order you do it, yes, or okay, yeah.
Yes.
Sure. Morangi kandi shue sene da morang nyamyu she roa gen. Dagi ngan de sungye de ane parjin thaba yin ba yin re karsa da gyude ongma shebe chebe yin na shine da lhagdon ni gi rimba da bu dan de tanggo shine dub de ne lhagdon du bor slab roa ge. Ma je ba yin na ane lhagdon de yongwa yo mar slab roa ge. Da morang kodan chedu kan le ya da lhagdon segen de sem che chi bor je ko roa ge. semce chikbara chilo kode roage chene was konda shine second semce chikbara chilo ko roage bagnon second chidangi ngajo sherap sejo roage deni chilo kone cheta ane kapkalia pen sherap menas ane bige semtempo je cheje nede yungu marabas roage konini korem de karine yong chogo dos roage inji minji ngelia ane chechikba meb ine roage sherap ki thojene chechikba keda 제집어 디고 좋아진 시럽게 그러 맞아 고림 예진직 되지 인지미지 연구를 받으래 뭐라는 거 최근에 연구가 아이어서 보게 시럽면에 제집어 용셔서 말해서 그래
아게 진짜 되게 자식을 용서를 장에 더 신행을做을 세면 되다 나 라메일마도 신행을 제집을做을 세고
저 지단마다 마다 지단게 신내다 라동 기자 마찬가지로 하게
시다 라동니가 거야 기대 가르스다 여기 신제야 되서는 자 ene mames nagono so thonga ti pechik bara di nika manso na yamara
la oke mar게 sta ale shine lagdo pa sha sha roage 시단에 게 비게 가서 롭션 가령을 셈 이게 지금 짐고 roage da sem che chikwa shenmide de jimya de da sherab second roage dini 고림 예전에 여러 여마라 셰랍 기 제직발 좋아져 제직발서 다 sem 비게 네 롭션 제대로야 도나 제다 롭션 제 도나 제디 셰랍을 펜 줘 보니까 용말로게
지선이가 좋아지 쇼게 셈자지가 롭션라 파페다 롭션시의 셈자지가 수펜도 그러와
전년에 셰랍 요청으로 와 인지면 제디 녀리야
뭐 셰랍 세지가 좋아져 바로 자지가 셰랍 좋아져 들이지
맞다 저다 용어를 녀레시 변에 셰랍 제네 에네 제리야 신에서 다 셈지지가 니네 인지면 그림데 녀 그거 말어 와서 그러게
녀 그거지 말해
나 지단신은 녀 그거 말어 서게 셰랍 녀를 요네
셰랍 신이야 신이 제 가서 제가 신이야 삼어고야지 야 삼어고도 제가 셔주가 되고라
라라래 단데디 셰디 가르셔보다 단데디 고래 라야디 단데 그리
다디 그 버탄도 심어대 고래서다 여기 칭지야 그래서 군인가 냠도면 그 장만도 소토아요 말이야
I just want to make sure that we get as clear as answer to yours. So it takes a while to sort out things because we want one context what we talk about, and then you brought another one. So maybe I think the best way I can put it this way: let's not worry about calm abiding a special inside order, okay? Just leave it on the side, right? We don't want to mess up there. Generally speaking, right, just as you kind of, shared your thought, it is, we may agree it's possible to have general wisdom that helps us to be able to bring focus, and the focus can help to, accentuate the wisdom. With me, it doesn't mean necessarily have to be in that or in a particular order. As a matter of fact, practitioners might sometimes try to analyze something. So then when they reach some kind of a tentative conclusion, then they can stay focused on it, right? That means you started with the wisdom and you ended up with concentration, okay? So that's acceptable. Yeah. Now that's all right. So now what we're talking about here, the present context is like in terms of, the advancement on the path and practices, right? Then the order, in general speaking, except the Mahayana Tantra, leave them alone, okay, on the side. In general, then it is required to have a calm abiding first with appliances. Then now you don't feel tired or bored or anything. So that will help you to be able to investigate and analyze, right, the nature of things. So it really facilitates. So once you have the special insight, it can also facilitate the other way around too. So it is complementary to each other, right? It starts off with the calm abiding, but then you generate special insight, but then it can also, it's a bidirectional, not unidirectional thing. Hopefully that sort out things. Okay, yeah, good. It takes a while to sort out things, Yes.
Geshe, thank you for your teachings. So I just had a question about my own practice. So I, for example, when I meditate on the four thoughts, that I part of my meditation will be, okay, let me consider impermanence, moment to moment, sort of subtle and gross impermanence and death and this kind of thing. And between those contemplations, I rest in kind of open awareness, but no object to that. And I'm wondering, okay, so certainly the part where I'm contemplating is analytical meditation, which I think you would call Vipassana,
yes,
right? But when I alternate and I go to sort of an open awareness kind of thing, is that what you consider that to be shamatha?
Okay. Okay, yeah, I understood what you said. Okay, just double checking one more for my sake, right? We said after you analyze the subtle and coarse impermanent something, right? Somewhere you said you rest in the mind on nothing else. What do you mean by that? Are you just kind of in a blank state, or you're focusing on what you have arrived at through your investigation, right? Oh, this must be subtle impermanence. You rest your mind on that, or you just rest your mind like, yeah.
Yeah. The term that my teacher uses, open awareness.
Okay. So open awareness about what?
Yeah.
Now, I understand the word open awareness, but you have to be aware of something, right? What is aware of?
There's no object.
Or just space, kind of.
Yeah, maybe the word you use is rigpa.
Rigpa. Okay, sure. Thank you. Now that helps for me. Yeah. Koran this good. Koran nyamlin chetangi kolia nyasanji shune di takda digi me dikin kanarona sarwa. Koran ko kom jabdan di du sevena da thongma chi midava bana tha rakpa da thawa raw dindel samuldan chebe che rawage. Bana midava rakpa da thawa yo rawage. Dindel ya samro ristanga che rawage. 다 제발이 시기비체 근데 제리야 안 샘딩 예소를 시작하기 위해서 rawage. 양한테네 샘데 양조 제발을 치고요. 당한서 제ben에게 전조 빼마생을 저러하게. 디라고 제대로 와게. 얘네들은 좀 예서 간데 잡되기 위해서 rawaq라 당에 세도 간을 될 미파게 요 말에 샘대로 하게. 미파 매번 예서도 가래 세도 간라 다 거기 인지책 되고 그러면 다디 요바게 가지고 수교 갈을 리파서가 좀 해봐. 리파. 샘 리베 롱도 샤스게 직시도 하게 님마저게. 리베 낭도 샘 샤도 니레를 komen 되기 위해서 와. 어디 딱다 디고 여러분서 전조 빼면서 저러하게 당고 제바체베게 미겔 레디오 갈라 샘 리파기 ngo리나데 델야 샘 예서 야 되네 야 라유데 제바체치디 다 가서 전조 빼마를 저러하게 디 체단디 딕도이나 메나사 냠 검잡다디
아니 다 되게 거 지도스 삼로서 주제다 이게 샘 내가세 杨把小周的杨家三王当时白马线公园第几道公主上是吧？
我做大罗给，
他是没把你是没把那个日本他的日本让山下山的那是看看这个人，这
但係見啲話特別啲咪多時我就日不時啲講我就需要考慮啊嘅，same 日本嘅我嗱就啲啥成日是入職需要嘅，and same 日本嘅嗱老闆說的，啥是所有人們就我就需要多嘅，我哋啲見啲聽見啲就送上來嘅，
别的弄这什麼的，
係啦，
日本我下山的这是吧？这个什么马当一个让上考了下去是吧？这什么考？
我哋我哋
就是
我哋咧，
这是我是吧？
我哋
要做那边出生什么的，做的就是，哎，你啥都是，你做就啥 person 呢？哎，如果要做他们的碰你把，啥个么来呀？没事，养就最老呀么这些，出生下的怕偏痛嘛是。
哦咯，
你这什么看就超生的超修的，你我老是最苦我什么，我不要出这种要么是。
係啲日本嗱做嘅啥事啲需要多嘅，但係啲嗰陣時知道
到那个啥子就知道这咱那是用这种毛病有个场的，看看这些的。
Yeah, I just want to double check, because that word helps Rigpa for Tibetan, right? Then otherwise, I don't know how to translate English word awareness. It can mean many other things. So anyway, other things, yeah, that usually, it's fine, right? We call it alternating between analytical meditation and single-pointed meditation. And the one thing you mentioned is that, for example, maybe that's one thing you focus on the coarse and subtle impermanence, and then later you rest your mind in the state of awareness or openness, right? We call it Rigpa. But I asked Geshe, anything you want to talk about? He said Rigpa is a really, it has so many meanings, isn't it? So he doesn't want to open the Pandora box and go into there. But what Geshe said is, yes, he heard that Rigpa, awareness, that one of the examples, some master use, it's like that when you are sailing on the ocean, maybe in the ocean, olden days, then you have those birds or pigeons, right, who are accompanying with you. So don't worry about the birds fly anywhere because ocean is infinite, right? However far they fly, ultimately they will return home to the ship. They're never going to leave the ship. It's just like that. You can have all kinds of thoughts, right? Let it all just arise. Don't chase them, just simply watch. Then finally they will all come back to your maybe basic awareness of Rigpa and then rest in that, right? That's maybe you are doing out on something like that. So that's, that's fine. Yeah. Yeah. So that practice is, yeah. So is that related to shamatha or not? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Ale, the Quran is under the Gomja, the Shilada, Yanda, Jig Dewar, Yora, Yamaresa, and that same tango, Midaba Tara, Ya, Samatan Roage, Jabaja, Shuliada, Rigben Long, Yeso Gabrova, the Shilag in Yamlang, Sugar Maresa, Shilag, Pepema Chev in Yamne Sugar to Maresa.
And that could do some of the Shila, do the pingage.
In the Shilag, Hombatel Sugar to Marge.
Shila Goma,
Midabal, Midal maybe Shine, Midal maybe Shine, Shilag.
My Shine goes out to the higher. Shine said goes Mutu the gong with by the 30 days goes Sanya Magos and 9 go the Pentago Maro.
No.
Did I know the young Asian 30 goes Sanya Mago 9 go Pentago?
No. Okay, I got it. Yeah, so they could be related to the shamatha and vipassana meditation. But if you're seriously doing shamatha, we just have to first stay focused and do cultivate, right? We cannot have a little bit of shamatha and then you do something else, right? Until we have shamatha, we just have to stay focused on whatever we are focusing, But alternating between that, yes, that's related to shamatha and vipassana practice kind of thing. Yeah.
You know, there's your Shila said, good, she knew good on Mutamata, but in other objects, Chish Gugina.
No.
Children, Mary said, Chitawa Kujo, she sha. Young Mag, that member says, and the concern should do Jugzali, young Chili, young Sawayasun, taking Yama Sawa the Patanta Penta.
No.
She said, the Gundizan. Today, going to Pento Maris or Mutu, Mutu, Mazibishi or Master. Yama, Tari Gonsan Makudo, they can 다리의 상에 변도하시 드라 도토 말씀으로.
No. So Geshe said, actually, when we would like to cultivate shamatha, come abiding, right? They said we just have to pursue just that until we have it. We cannot interrupt it by any other practice. Today you are really into the shamatha practice, then few days you take off, and then you come back. Then this doesn't do anything. The example given is like boiling the water, isn't it? If you boil the water, you might as well keep the fire low so that it keeps the warmth. You boil the water, then you switch the fire, and after 2 hours you come back, you have to restart the fire, right? So if we keep doing that, we will never have shine, So it has to be continuously kind of pursued for the actual come abiding. But that said, what you're doing is related to, right? Yes. Yeah. Let's just again. Yeah. Ishwara's happy, looks like you're satisfied with his answer. Very rare he will comment, so I thought I should translate. Or I could have kept quiet for myself. Just kidding. Okay, so we will probably stop there. He has some prayer requests. I have a long prayer to do, right? Okay. 咁就学的是多见，东面咁就学的多见。
드리 동네 좀지 쉐려야 셀데바 ziyu yang da lin wangni ziyu yang Singapore sharba nge je chomba ni korani chen tungme narana shwe da denit sedan demba Lincoln Rosenbaum ani Fu Ying Shu Siyu Ding Patricia Martinez Alina Vorikina Amanda Alvarez 아니 강래 services 더 예, 크라운즈 강에 봐주셔야다 섬신도 아니 된다 주변에 이제 투면 나르나스 before I read the prayer request for today, I would like everyone to remember that this upcoming Wednesday is a talk day. So please keep that in your calendars. This upcoming Wednesday, the 24th. Yes. And then prayer requests this week, requested for those who have recently passed, include prayers for baby Ziyu Yang and Lin Wang. So please keep Ziyu Yang and Lin Wang in your prayers and dedications, along with those two individuals. Please keep all sentient beings who have recently deceased in your prayers as well. May they be free from all suffering and purified of all negative karma accumulated since beginningless times. May they be reborn with all precious freedoms and endowments. May they meet the Dharma and a qualified guru and quickly achieve liberation and enlightenment. Prayers requested for those who are still with us include prayers for Lincoln Rosenbaum, Fu Ying Xu, Siyu Ding, Patricia Martinez, Alina Vorikina, Amanda Alvarez, and those working at Kongle Services. Prayers are requested for their health, well-being, and success. So along with the individuals whose names I just read, may all sentient beings be free from all obstacles, hardship, and negative karma. May their wishes and prayers be fulfilled. May they be guided by the blessings of the three jewels, and may they experience everlasting peace and happiness. Another reminder as well, the new long life prayers that we are reciting are now on the website. They've been there for the past week. So please feel free to download them and view them from the GSTDL website. If you go to the information tab, you'll see a prayers link or button there. You go into that, and then you'll see the PDF available for the long life prayers that we recite after each of our sessions on Sundays and Sok. and they're earmarked with 2026, so you know that they're the new ones.
Thank you, Geshe-la. And you already know, I would like to add one more name, Professor Robert Tenzin Dorjee, regarded as the foremost American Buddhist teacher, translator. I don't know what are the other accolades you can put on him. The Padma Shri of India, the fourth highest award government of India gave him for his contributions to Buddhism. So he passed away recently at age 84. And so we would like to request, right, the first Western Buddhist monk ordained by His Holiness, and of course his story goes long, so I don't want to repeat. Robert Thurman second Jorwage. Robert Thurman second Professor Kewang Jorege. And the Kurangema Tango, the Nubjoba Nangi, Chaba Tango, the Kundin, Suen and Konare, the what? Then Konada Chaba the Pub did say, and Miguel Columbia, Nyanda Ching University, Professor Jen, Jason Kabagi, $10 Kubiaji, the chair again. Then the Koran Katan Lord Geshe Phuntsok the wagon, or date to make them. So we will do the Buddha of Compassion, Arya Avalokiteshvara, prayer and dedication first for the deceased, and then we will do the Healing Buddha, prayer and dedication for everybody who needs healing. Shadong Holun Yuwen, Yewo Dong, Jendong, Kewa, Sangbu, Sangye, Kala, Kangdu, Tela, Dedemba, Jumba, Cheris, Chanze, and Omani Peme Home, Omani Peme Home. Omani Beme Hori, Yawadi, Nudoda, Cheres, one, Dubjo, Dova, Chia, Malu, one, the Salam, Guber, Show, Tuji, Kunla, Nyombe, Jomden, the Senzan, Hebe, Nidu, Dong, Dozon is a Sanye, Mindu Yai, Vela, Chanze, Lo. Om Namo Bhagavate Bhagaze Guru Vindriya Tabaranzaya Tadangadaya Arahate Samya Sambuddhaya Teyata Om Bhagaze Bhagaze Maha Bhagaze Bhagaze Ranza Samugadiya Soa Teyata Om Bhagaze Bhagaze. Om Bhagaze Bhagaze Ma Bhagaze Bhagaze Ranza Samugadiya Soa Gyawadi Nyudoda Membe Yevo Drubju Dova Jaya Malu Teya Sana Gubara Show page 3. Ramjam Gyabe Sanso Malu Ba Kandi Chiyan Chabe Yurdu Ga Sishin Gele Kunjo Yichi Nguju Tinjen Lame Sonam La Daja Dunshu Tabe Sude Kanjen Gombo Dinzin Gyazo Yi Huzi Meshe Geja Rabde Shende Lunye Roba Chinje Chunye Kunse Kyunda Nyamjo Dünde Dijen Yishe Gyume Dangme Dendang Denbe Jingo Shawe Yedang Lazo Tamje La Daja Dongshu Tabu Sunde Kanjin Gongbo Dinzin Gyazo Ye Wuzi Meshe Geja 现的论点如我境界罗帮助原点喷作天来也那我如何叫做大人偏在都不住我那也了让将对送叫我大家动手特别选的那看见广播电视要做也估计没些个现在论点如果境界罗几点什么的看给俺这些说到希望南疆那边上面没有规上给别太松当别学习错大家遵守特别选的那看见广播电视要做或者没些给家入的现在论点如果境界罗西边出工中了些吧对对，我从家外一些当当多些中的密切把这种怕别跟对他们家大家动手特别顺的那看见广播电视叫做估计没些给家。现在论点如果情节罗科技新的内容都是太多娘家热月建筑业年中冷上入了这些那种把我看着操弄了大家动手特别顺的看见广播电视要做业我这没些给家现在论点如果情节罗多节强给高大强给的面对日本太多那个电脑电信教育都这些一切简单电送叫做大家遵守特别顺的那看见广播电信叫做国际没些给家入的现在论点如果情节罗得到路面交接超能受到年年规别适当的密切人民生活，大少康中这边关键，我往路上电信加做着上述密切民主民主，上些用的多些人民吃给我加做要买大的。让将要我关键这边过人多差不多上边垃圾。天来分别努力宁波先把这些论点入不就及对对状态给上那么个旅行也是制度导致些对不对说对或多让给这这些节目也就及长了边面前了就是大说应该说说大面积高兴这边这边让你非常追求要做他人说民主世界电的路网那边电报等大概拉上大边图图那边两个人的了牛都说 page 9上去用的在了网球为给他这些前面那边都是长松电报马上的密学大边我不等的都说宁波路上这边协助群众别别拉近天来那么多这边眼睛去正在其中那么说多久看到空的马路把身上空白他妈来的空的女主开始用过送给在上경제를小的民众车子准备经过来当别남들司机活动多为农民说了且把大的马尾你们小的特别宁波大瓦店中的就把前面西西cham子偏的一个白云到处改变这把总体小的路上加为突出看给与几多级别自己碰上军队上面那些新啊前边那么多总体小的说到了这些改善历在与的那个观赏公民这样别为天来现在等等日期小的今年工作送业勤劳等大说等等有往没别军队等的路面等别其他没别内容都不说被查定马王当面关键动画的抗日中所年的现在 Jamgun Gyawa Niwa Yapse Jangson Tenzi Mabe Shiwa Tenzin Chebe Yingwon Zebe Shije Nigun Changzhu Dendu Longdo Tamzhe Pebe Peiyun Deja Gyazhu Gundo Shabde Tesang Gomdang Chezhe Zongbe Ze Yongzho Yurin Tube Nyake Longri Dejin Nube Bedenbe Tubden Kangri Dabo Shabde Donang Kongmen Zeba Namda Gu Tendang Zhuwe Pende Zhuwe Dundro Yumin Chebe Tele Gesang Duje Dundo Shabde Chizu Lame Tuje Melamda Gesang Duje Tendam Zangme Kam Chushon Tudo Chidam Mimben Zengwe Lundu Shu 15 Ramja Shingi Gombo Seba Me Zudo Namje Geyun Tama Chojo Zeye Lazo Tamje Taden Mishi Chogi Mutu Tubden Chidam Losan Gyawa Yi Shiru Tenban Zembe Peyin Tadu Dija Gyonge Shenyen Cho Yangdu Ninje Wongbo Sowa Jiden Sumge Chana Benmen Zhu Denbe Zawa Susu Taba Namda Zudin Yangda Langba Ye Osan Yenden Bedo Shabte Duzhong Yajin Nonjin Yangbe Xin Samzhu Namju Cangjin Zhongbe Gomzhong Xila Songzhu Debu Denbe Ngada Chenbo Shabde Chebe Donga Gowang Bozo De Zunbe Rilang Siyu Bumda Zunbe Dunden Leshe Changzha Yu Kidu Xinyin Chenbo Shab Tenbe Langdu Guxie Zeda Zhe Zunbe Tara Niezo Rangsa Sangbu Lüjie Rigu Yixie Nu Sumden Xinyin Chenbo Shabde Tesang Rula Jawe Dende Ji Menju Taju Sangme Sijin Labjin Zidin Dendu Peshawe Zenden Xinyin Chenbo Shab Shozon Gyawa Seje Qin Lao Da Tuden Tamjin Songme Tinle Dajia Lasang Dam Jeda Menben Dungwe Nyu Do Shu Changzhu Simzhu Rinpo Che Ma Ye Pa Na Ji Ye Ba Nyamba Me Ba Yang Gone Gong Pe Wa Shu Dong Ni Da Wa Rinpo Che Ma Ye Pa Na Ji Ye Wa Nyamba Me Ba Yang Gone Gong Do Pe Wa Shu Sa Xi Pe Xin Zhu Xi Me Do Zhang Ri Ra Ling Xi Nin De Yen Ba De 上界心多没的，如果南大新来觉把说抗日这边过来新干做，平常在我马路中边，现在是往天津家族，下边7点8度电就机一档咕噜热，忙着那个那样太阳面，叫我更多养大那么的，这面确实不了，我觉。 사다 람제 연대 도제 창게 고바 뉴도 조 Happy Father's Day. Enjoy your lunch.